Welcome everyone to another solo edition of the Squared Circle Cafe podcast. I, of course, am Jeremy Moses. You can follow me on Twitter at JeremyMoses85. Of course, the important ones to follow, the show at SCC Podcast on Twitter, and we are also on Facebook at Squared Circle Cafe. I wanted to do this one tonight to give you a SummerSlam preview as we're going into the weekend, and I don't really know if there's any plan to record something this weekend or not. I'm going under the assumption that there's not. So this is what we have. We have at the top Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Then we have Becky Lynch versus Natalya for the Raw Women's Championship in a submission match. Bayley versus Ember Moon for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton, singles match for the WWE Championship. Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon. If Owens loses, he will be forced to quit the WWE. Finn Balor versus The Fiend in a singles match. AJ Styles, Ricochet for the U.S. Championship. Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler. Trish Stratus versus Charlotte Flair. And Drew Gulak taking on Oni Lorcan. And Daria, I'm sure you'll let me know if I mispronounced that. I could have butchered that horribly, but I don't think I did. But that's for the Cruiserweight Championship. So I'm gonna start from the top, and I'm gonna work my way through this thing. Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins. A couple weeks ago, I made it very clear my dislike of Seth Rollins' most recent title reign. I still hold those same beliefs. They really didn't do much on Monday that made me want to see this match anymore, to be honest with you. If anything, I'm less excited about it. Because it feels like we've done this before. Oh, wait, we did at WrestleMania. It was kind of the same thing. To Seth Rollins' credit, he did look sympathetic, at least initially, right before he bum-rushed Brock Lesnar and, well, got destroyed. Who's going to win this? God, I hope it's Seth Rollins, because I don't know about the rest of the crew, but I don't want to see Brock Lesnar continuing to hold the title. We need a Universal Champion on the card every month, and we don't get that historically with Brock Lesnar. So I'm hoping for Seth Rollins to win. Will he? With what they did on Monday, I think that would be the logical way to go. With that, we'll move on. Becky Lynch, Natalya for the Raw Women's Championship. Another one that I should be more excited to see than I am. As a matter of fact, that's the case for the first 3 matches on the card. But I do think they've made this a blood feud. Certainly. Is Natalya going to win in her home country? No. I can't see them taking the belt off of Becky Lynch. And yeah, Vince McMahon, I called it a belt. Deal with it. So I'm going with Becky Lynch to retain. Bayley versus Ember Moon for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I should be more excited to see this one. They have not made me believe in Ember Moon. And consequently, I don't think there's any way she wins this. And I'm going with Becky to retain, or Bayley to retain here. That's the problem. You got Becky and Bayley. They're right close together. At least on the card I'm looking at. So Bayley to retain and go into yet another match with Charlotte Flair, which I'm not excited for in the least. We've been there. We've done that. Enough already. Kofi versus Randy Orton. Now, this one I am excited for. They've gone all the way back to 2009 for this one. If you remember an episode of Raw where Randy Orton was heard over the mics the ring mics, calling Kofi Kingston stupid. He literally said, stupid. Stupid. This is about Kofi wanting to prove himself to Randy Orton. And I like that. I really like that. Let's see who's the better man here. Is Orton going to win? I don't think so. I could be wrong. I really could be wrong here, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong. I think it's going to be Kofi on this one. Owens versus McMahon. If Owens loses, Kevin Owens loses, he's going to be forced to quit the WWE. Now, is this a way to write him out to NXT? To repackage him, perhaps? That would be where I would go with this. But because they didn't explicitly say, oh, by the way, you can't go to NXT. You got to leave the company entirely. So I think that's a possibility. It's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think McMahon finally gets his comeuppance from Owens here. I wish that they would have tried to make that stipulation they tried to make Tuesday night on SmackDown, where loser leaves. I wish they would have tried to make that a reality. I wish they could have made that a reality. Unfortunately, they could not. So, and really, in all honesty, you can't. I mean, there's no way that Shane McMahon's going to completely leave the company. But that said, I don't think Owens is leaving here. I think he gets. I think he gets his. I think he gets his pound of flesh against Shane on Sunday. Finn Balor taking on the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. Why did I say Brandy? I don't know. But I really like where they've gone with the Fiend. I really like that Bray Wyatt has basically a split personality. It really it excites me. I want to see where they go with this. And I think Bray Wyatt has to get the win here. You can't. I mean, if you're WWE, I don't put anything past them. So they might just have Finn, destroy the Fiend. And if they do that, the character's dead. It doesn't really matter what you do. The character's dead at that point. Wouldn't put it past them to do that. I think they won't. Therefore, I would expect a Fiend win. And by the way, I like that they've established that he can use the mandible claw. I didn't like the fact that there wasn't an uproar over the Fiend attacking first Mick Foley, then Kurt Angle, or a bigger uproar, rather. I didn't like that too much. But other than that, I really can't complain about how they've built that back up. AJ Styles Ricochet, singles match. At least it should be a singles match for the U.S. Championship. And I don't think it's going to be a singles match. I think quite possibly, I think it will be a singles match, but I don't think we're going to go without interference from the other members of the OC. And by the way, the OC was a freaking nighttime soap opera type show that aired on Fox many years ago. That's what I think of when I think of the OC. I don't think of the original club. Sorry, I just don't. Good try, but no. That said, I think you get a Ricochet win by DQ, but AJ Styles retains the championship. That's how these things usually go with DQ finishes. Goldberg, Dolph Ziggler. This was thrown together last minute. It was looking like Ziggler, Miz again, and they swerved it. They swerved people. Well, actually, no, they didn't swerve people because it came out that was a possibility that the WWE was looking into doing that match. So they didn't swerve anybody. Or at least they didn't swerve the smart fans. People like myself. That said, this should be a quick match, and I think Goldberg gets some of his mojo back after that disaster in Saudi Arabia earlier this year. And I mean it was a disaster. That's about all I can say about that. Trish Stratus, Charlotte Flair. Stratus is saying on social media and elsewhere that this is her last. This is her retirement match, for lack of a better term. Of course, you never rule anything out. See Shawn Michaels in Saudi Arabia. But I think you got to give the rub to Charlotte here with this one. This is one where the legend has to put over the better or the younger talent. So I think it's Charlotte winning this. Underhanded tactics? Probably not. I think more than likely this is a legitimate win for the Queen, Charlotte Flair. Gulak or Lorcan for the Cruiserweight Championship. And by the way, here in just a minute, I think I will go ahead and get into TakeOver Toronto in just a minute. But let's talk about Gulak and Lorcan first. This should be a show stealer. Unfortunately, it's probably going to end up on the pre-show. We haven't heard yet. Actually, I take that back. We have. Jonathan Coachman tweeted that he is going to be hosting the pre-show, and that it's scheduled to be what he called supersized, which automatically for me means it's a 2-hour pre-show. So I think the Cruiserweight match ends up on that pre-show. But this should be a show stealer, and more than likely, I think Gulak continues his Cruiserweight title reign. I really like where he's going, but I don't think Lorcan will lose a whole lot in this match. I think they're going to keep him strong for the months to come. I hope I'm right about that. All right, now let's get into NXT TakeOver Toronto, taking place on Saturday. Both of these events, by the way, taking place at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. And I started from the top on the SummerSlam card. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up on the TakeOver card. I think this is going to be the better show of the weekend, if you don't count the G1 or Ring of Honor that are taking place this weekend. I don't really have a lot of time to go into those, or else I'd go ahead and go into those. But Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai in a singles match. Then you got Shayna Baszler, Mia Yim for the NXT Women's Championship. Velveteen Dream, Pete Dunne, Roderick Strong, triple threat for the North American Championship. Tag team match for the NXT Tag Team Championship. The Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, going against the Undisputed Era's Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. And finally, Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano in a 2 out of 3 falls for the NXT Championship. Starting from the bottom, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai. They've made this into a huge blood feud. I love that. I love seeing that. And I have to admit, I'm torn on this one. Io Shirai really needs to be kept strong as a heel, because they could use the heels. They could use strong heels. But I also think you can get more out of this. So I'm going to go with Candice LeRae here. No, I take that back. I'm going to go with Io Shirai. Because you can't. Because if the babyface wins, it's over. It's done. So we're going to go with Io. Now, hang on a second. Wow. I hope you didn't hear that, folks. Because that was a low plane. That was a really low plane. I'm close to the airport here in Oklahoma City. But I didn't think I was that close. Holy crap. Moving on. Shayna Baszler, Mia Yim for the Women's Championship. No way Shayna Baszler is going to lose here. But I don't think it's a clean win. I think you get Duke and Shafir. Jessamine Duke. Marina Shafir. Interfering in this match. And I'm going to take Shayna to win by nefarious means. Dream, Dunn, and Strong for the triple threat. Or for the North American Championship in the triple threat. Honestly, the idea is that the Undisputed Era is trying to hold all the gold. I don't think they succeed in this. I think Roderick Strong doesn't take the loss. Unfortunately, I think it's Pete Dunne that takes the pinfall, and Velveteen Dream continues to hold that North American Championship. But that said, I think they make both of these guys look stronger in defeat in some way, shape, or form, but I haven't quite figured out how they do that just yet. Undisputed Era's Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish versus the Street Profits, which is Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford for the Tag Team Championship of NXT. Surely the Street Profits are main roster bound, probably on Raw. And that being the case, I think the Undisputed Era comes out with a win on this one. I'd like to see it be different, but or I'd like to see the Street Profits continue to hold the title, but with as much as they've been appearing on Raw, and I think on SmackDown too for that matter, yeah, they're going to get the titles off of these guys. With that, we got Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, 2 out of 3 falls for the NXT Championship. 3 stipulations, or a stipulation for each fall. The first 2 are a street fight, which is chosen by Johnny Gargano, and a straight-up standard singles match chosen by Adam Cole. If there is a third fall, William Regal will decide that final stipulation. Honestly, I can't see this not going 3 falls. I think we're going to go 1-1. I'm not going to try and guess what the third fall is going to be. Surely it's going to be something crazy. Although if you see a cage in the Scotiabank Arena on Saturday, that's probably going to be a cage match. That said, I think Adam Cole walks out with the gold. I think the lone loser out of the Undisputed Era, again, is going to be Roderick Strong. But that's just me. With that being said, this has been your SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver preview, at least from me. I'm Jeremy Moses. Thank you for listening to the podcast produced by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. As Daria always says, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.